Hello. It's a little bit late, guys. Sorry, I just got home from an event in Moultrie County. Went over there and saw my friend Brad Hallbrook and got some. We did some signature signing and talked to people about some things. So uh, I was glad Ryan was still awake here at 10:40 because a couple of things going on today I wanted to talk to you guys about. But at that event, one of the things that I thought was interesting. Oh, say hi, everybody.
Hi, Daddy.
Say, my name's Asher.
Hi, Asher.
Okay, I'm going to talk to him. You keep writing on your stuff, okay? He's snapping his fingers, guys. Uh, but and I posted a picture about it earlier, where it's this little girl. Her dad wanted her to bring her over and see me, so told me the story about how his daughter had really been having a tough time, and now that she took the mask off, how much better she's doing. So it was really, it was very heartwarming to hear that story. So wanted to let you know about that. We had a couple issues today that I wanted you guys to think about. It had to do with some of the kids that are plaintiffs in this case. And most of the school districts have pretty much moved on from the exclusion policies or the masking policies. In general, there are a few that are only doing it for the plaintiffs, but for the most part, they've moved on. And as it relates to the exclusion, as you guys are aware, that your school district can't exclude your kid from school because they think that they're a health risk. And the schools generally understand that, but there's a few of them that are getting confused, okay? So the let me make sure I get the fact pattern right, because he's writing stuff here and it's kind of got me occupied a little bit. Sorry, guys. I had a child, and I'm not going to mention the school district or the child, who on Friday had a sore throat. The child had a sore throat.
I did it.
That's awesome, buddy. So the child had a sore throat and called the kid off school, or the kid picked the kid up from school on Friday. Monday, they didn't have school because it was a holiday. So on Tuesday, the school district wants to say, oh, okay, but your child now can't come back to school for 5 days. And then after that has to wear a mask for 5 days. Like, the guidance from the health department. And this is one of my clients. And they're trying to say, oh, your kid was sick and had symptoms of COVID on Friday, so we're going to invoke these policies. And my client was like, what do you do? He's dancing for you guys. And I had to talk with the attorney for the school district, and I'm like, please talk to these. I mean, again, these are not, bless you. These people are not, trying to be devious. It's just these school administrators have been so jaded with what they're being told. And so, I'm like, that's a quarantine. Yeah, he's photobombing me, Jim. Here, sit up there so I can talk to people, okay?
Okay.
And so we finally explained to them that that's a type of quarantine and you can't do it. And if the kid was sick on Friday, but now the kid is fine on Tuesday, you can't say, oh, he had a cough and so now we're going to quarantine them. No, if you think that child needs to be quarantined, you got to have the health department do that. You can't do that yourself as a school district. And so we got that cleared up. But to the extent you guys are my clients and your child has the sniffly sneezies, they can't exclude your kid from school and ask them to test. You can agree to that if you want to, but they can't make you do that, okay? You going to clap for them? You clapping for them? So I wanted to let you guys know that. Then as to the issue of the you see on the screen, the order of quarantine was denied to the Cook County Health Department. I had a colleague of mine that reached out. Now, Justin, if he comes up on every feed, you guys can see it gets me all flustered because I'm used to playing with him and trying to talk to you guys at the same time. He should be in bed, but he didn't have school tomorrow, so he's up. We're watching something in there. I'm not sure what it is. Some cartoon. So the Cook County Health Department. Now, keep in mind, guys, I have been arguing for 2 years. Not that masks are never appropriate, not that quarantine or exclusion might not ever be appropriate, but just got to follow the law. And so here we are, Cook County Health Department, biggest health department in the state of Illinois. What did they do? On behalf of one of the school districts in the county, they issued what's called an immediate order of quarantine, which is lawful, good for 48 hours. And then they had to petition the court for an order that would go longer. Guys, that was completely a lawful procedure that the Cook County Health Department undertook. And so the lawyer sent it to me and, was like, look what they're doing now. And I'm like, that's great. Here he is. My buddy's on right now. We're talking about you, brother. And I said, that's great because they're following the law. And so we talked about what that took, how that process worked. And the attorney went to court on behalf of his client in Cook County in front of a judge, presented his client's defense, and the judge denied the request of the health department and did not enter an order of quarantine to exclude the child from school. Kid goes back to school. That's exactly how the process worked. Read the order that the judge entered. It's attached to a link on the American Freedom Society site. You dancing for him, buddy? Hey, don't shake your butt at him. Here it is. Ryan's pulling it up. Read the order of what the judge had written. And there's a couple of things that the judge pointed out. Where does it say? An order of quarantine constitutes a substantial deprivation of one's liberty interest. The law, quite appropriately, places a high burden on the government body seeking the relief. I'm going to keep reading for you guys. And this is the judge's words. It's not enough that the health department allege that quarantine is necessary to prevent community transmission of COVID. They must allege a medical basis for the duration of the quarantine that is being imposed on the respondent. That's the student. And prove it by clear and convincing evidence. Go to the next part the judge wrote, Ryan. It's down a little lower, wasn't it? Or was it up higher? Maybe it was up higher where the judge wrote the other part. There's another provision where, yes, there where the judge says, the court may not deprive one of their liberty interests without giving them the opportunity to confront the government's witnesses and present their own witnesses. Do you know what it means, the opportunity to confront the government's witnesses and present their own? That's due process of law. That's what we've been arguing for 2 years. It's what Judge Grishow ruled in her ruling. And here we have the Cook County Health Department following the rule of law, the judge following the rule of law. But yet you have Ms. Haggard from the Illinois Education Association standing in a courtroom along with the Attorney General's office, fear-mongering to Judge Grishow about, oh my God, the system won't work. It'll collapse if we have to give people their due process rights. No, it won't. It just worked right there in that courtroom in Cook County, Illinois. And again, the judge said you didn't prove your case. If we wouldn't have won this case, and if this court or this county health department wouldn't have followed the rule of law, that child who my colleague represented would have been kicked out of school for 10 to 14 days without any meaningful opportunity to object and say, I'm not sick. Please let me go back to school. Guys, it's that simple. The system works the way that it's supposed to work. But you know what? The governor and his minions didn't want to have to go through that burdensome due process. They just wanted to kick kids out of school willy-nilly. That's a legal term. And just say, oh, that's just too bad because we're keeping you safe. It's absurd. So please read that health department order. Read the petition that, again, my colleague Lucas went and fought for his client and won. And show that to every one of your friends in Cook County especially, but across the state going, this is how the law was intended to work. It's how it was written. And if that law is written is not going to work, then we change the law. We don't let the governor play his fear-mongering games, okay? That's what the main thing I wanted to show you guys tonight about this Cook County order. Yeah, buddy. Excuse me.
Mommy, and this break and this light.
Okay, the light?
And this is fall down.
Okay, buddy. I appreciate it.
And it's not nice.
So that's what, again, I wanted to go over with you guys. That health department, it's extremely important. And the issue, I think, was also important to explain to you about if your child has, the sniffly sneezies at school, and they can't just say, oh, okay, now we're going to quarantine you. It doesn't work that way, you guys. It's just, that's not how the law was intended to work. So,
I'm not guys. I'm Asher.
You're not a guy? Your name is Asher? Okay, sorry, he's not a guy. His name is Asher. So that's what I've got. Let me see if I got a couple of questions here. It's getting late for all of you guys. Lisa, you're right. Cook County, they didn't prove the case, and that's fine. If they would have proven their case and the judge would have issued the quarantine order, then the child doesn't go to school for the amount of time that the judge says that that's necessary. I'm okay with that process because the courts don't always get it perfect, but they do the best job that we have of any system that we have in this country. So that's the oversight of the judicial process. So, but again, you take that process away, that whole judicial oversight, which is what the governor was trying to do. All of his executive orders, all of these emergency rules that they've been trying to play games with, was to try to take all of that due process and that judicial oversight away from you, which is why Judge Griswold called it the evil that the law was intended to protect us against. She was exactly right. And again, this order, I'm going to keep saying it, of the Health Department of Cook County, I commend them for trying to do it correctly. And again, they didn't get the job done on this case. Maybe the next time they do one, they might win. That's fine, but that's the system that the legislature's given us, okay? Let me see here. Let me see.
Hi guys. Look, I got crab.
He's a crab. Sorry. Where did it go? Somebody, how can we, hold on a second. What about the shield testing that can they make kids still do this? Guys, your school district can't make your child test for any reason whatsoever. You can voluntarily consent to it. The judge might order that your child test in order to be able to go back to school under the right set of facts, but they can't make your child test for anything. It is impossible. The law doesn't allow it. That's, they can't make anybody test. The judge maybe, but not the school district. Okay, let me see here. Carrie Lynn says, will the Joinder case be streamed on Friday? I'm not sure, Carrie, if the judge will stream that Joinder request or not yet, because also again, potentially the contempt issue with the Chicago Public School System. I'm not sure if the judge will stream that or not, ma'am. I wouldn't have any way to know until I get there. Steve, can the school require you to show a negative COVID test before returning to school? No. Now, again, I can only force a school district for behalf of my clients in these cases because the judge's restraining order applies to them. But as a general proposition, no, the school district can't make you show a COVID test, return to school. They can't do any of that stuff. Okay, let me see. Okay, that's a good question, Cassie asked. Mildly symptomatic, the same due process, question mark. Guys, there has to be a measure of common sense for everybody, not necessarily for you, the parents, but for the schools. If your kid has the sniffly sneezies, I have allergies, so I got the sniffly sneezies pretty much year round. If your kid has a stuffy nose or runny nose, and they try to say, get out of school, we're excluding you because you're symptomatic. I mean, there's an argument to be made that what they're doing is wrong. If your child's got 103 fever and they're standing there and they're dragging and they're vomiting and they've got then you're not even going to argue about it. You're going to take your kid out anyway. But those types of symptoms, again, yeah, your kid shouldn't be in school. Now, the question becomes is if your child has symptoms like that, and then 2 days later they don't have those symptoms. 1 second. Yes, sir. Your mommy has it. I don't know. Ask mommy. So 2 days later, your child doesn't have symptoms, and you're going to send them back to school, and then your school district says, "Oh no, they were symptomatic of something 2 days ago. You can't bring them back for 10 days." Then I think you've got a problem, and they might need that order of quarantine. But at some point in time, adult common sense has to take over with these issues, and I'm afraid that most parents are going to be dealing with these hysterical school districts until, again, this hysteria This, some doctors like to say this psychosis, call it whatever you want, until it starts to level off a little bit, and these school districts get a little bit of common sense back in their brains. I had some information. Hold on, I want to share with you guys now that we're gossiping. Yes, sir. Hold on, I'll be back again.
Turn off and it is not on.
What's not on?
And it is a yard and it's calm.
Did you guys get that? Okay, tell mommy we'll do it. Okay.
Okay.
So a buddy of mine sent me some statistics. I think you guys will find this interesting. Excuse me. Oh, where did it go? Hold on, let me do a search for it. I was curious. Here we go. I got it. I was curious back on February 4th when Judge Grishow entered her order. What was our...
I got mommy's phone.
You got your mommy's phone?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Go call somebody and
Okay.
tell them hi.
Okay.
All right, pick the first person.
Buddy, look, I got mommy's phone.
Hey, everybody, he's got mommy's phone. Okay, go play on mommy's phone. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
That's okay. It doesn't bother me. I think he's entertaining people more than me. He's probably more entertaining than I am.
Come on, Arthur.
So on February 4th, what was the total daily positive cases? What was the 7-day average? Okay, so on February 4th, that day we had 10,070 positive COVID cases and a 7-day average of 8,627. We go mask optional within 2 days. 200 school districts go fully mask optional, and a week later we're up to what, 600 or 700 school districts. So now we are, as of February 21st, which was 2 full weeks after Judge Grishow entered her order, we went from 10,070 cases on one day to 1,388 cases in one day. The 7-day average from February 4th to February 21st went from 8,627 on February 4th to 2,376 on February 21st. So in 14 days, with a mask optional policies from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of school districts across the state, the positivity still tanks down to 20% of what it was when Judge Grishow entered her order. If that's not showing people that the governor is engaged in fear-mongering and school districts having a mask optional policy is not remotely driving any of this. Right? What?
What's this?
I don't know. It's something your mommy puts in her hair, I think. I don't know. Go ask her. Okay? Is that a bracelet? Okay. So it's got the positivity of our state is not driven by kids having masks on in school. It's still tanking to nothing because guess what? My daughter, as I told you, Maddie, said, guess what? The virus comes and it goes, has ebbs and it has flows, and it's exactly right. So we went from 8,627 on an average to 2,376. What?
It's a hair tie.
It's a hair tie?
No, it's hair tie.
Oh, okay. You guys get that? So I think that's important, right? The governor's fear-mongering. Yes, you're right, Kathy. He's the boss. Let me see if I got a couple more. Okay. Yeah, Ryan, I know. He's stealing the show tonight. Okay. Let me keep looking. I'll make sure. Supreme Court news. Governor sent his request to the Supreme Court. I'll respond to it tomorrow. And there's a couple of different things to respond to. I mean, he really doesn't say anything new to the Supreme Court. It's the same, oh my God, everybody's going to fall over if you don't enter a stay to Judge Grishow's order. Keep in mind, Judge Grishow's order merely said to these 711 parents, give or take, with their children, you can't require masks or exclude them from school, to 146 school districts, 711 parents. The school districts on their own, based upon nothing other than their own discretion. Yes, sir. You better not open that, Mommy. You'll get mad. Okay, go ask her to open it. So not based on Judge Grishal's order, but based upon their own common sense. We got 700 and what, 20, 30, 40 of our 800 some school districts went fully mask optional and no vaccination or testing. They did that on their own. And the governor's thinks he can unwind that. He can't unwind that. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The governor doesn't have a health emergency that he's trying to address with the courts. He has a political emergency that he's trying to get the courts to give him cover with. It's unfortunate and it's sad, but I can't stop that. But again, his political emergencies are not something that the court should be addressing, because we don't have a health emergency. And you don't have to believe me. Just look at with your own eyes for the last 2 weeks. There's no emergency from a medical perspective. You okay? Okay, go spit that out.
No.
Okay. All right. So let me see here. Carolyn, just curious, what was the first thing you will do as Attorney General? Well, you know what? That's going to depend, I guess, on who the governor is. If people elect me Attorney General and Governor Pritzker is still the governor, the first thing I'll do is I'll make sure to tell Governor Pritzker, you don't have a lawyer against the people anymore. Because the people's lawyer is now going to be the Attorney General's office. And if you want to keep this stuff up, you're going to be dealing with the full force and power of the Attorney General's office. That's the first thing I'll tell Governor Pritzker. Okay, thank you, buddy. So that, ma'am, is what the first order of business will be. Second order of business shortly after that is I will have a special division that will investigate every public official from the top all the way down to the bottom of whether or not they've committed any kind of violation of rights against people of this state, students, business owners, etc. And to the extent they have, they will be held to account, as I've told you before. That's the second thing I'll do. But the first thing I'll do, I'll tell the Governor Pritzker, if he should win, I'll tell the new governor, whoever that might be, even if it's a Republican. The days are past that the Attorney General's office is going to take the governor's side against the people of this state. Ain't happening, I promise you.
Hey, Tom, need this and this one.
You want this one? You want this one? Hey. Oh, Asher wins. Stacy says, wouldn't that be cruel to let us have JB again? Oh, I agree with you. He should be dog catcher. But people elect me Attorney General, even if he's still governor, he ain't going anywhere. He will be just sitting there, you know, I don't know what he'll be doing. Crying maybe, I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, there's a good one, Steve. Buddy Steve. Any update on taking on the Catholic schools? Well, you know what? Fortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to have to take on the Catholic schools, because you guys knew I was coming. I was already working on putting it together, but I just saw a letter today where the Catholic schools in Chicago, all of them on Monday are going fully mask optional. So if that's not true, you all let me know. But I think that we don't have to worry about them anymore. We may have to look at the secondary education. We have to look at the state colleges. That's still something I'm looking at. We may have to go to the daycare facilities in some fashion, but I don't think the Chicago Diocese is an issue anymore. I mean, the Chicago Diocese is going fully mask optional. The Supreme, yes, sir.
Sorry.
That's okay, buddy. You don't worry about it. The Illinois Supreme Court's going fully mask optional. The city of Chicago is going fully mask optional. I mean, what else are we talking about? The only school really in the state that is, there's several schools, but the Chicago public schools trying to keep masks on kids. I mean, sadly, the Chicago Teachers Union is that much of a liberal bureaucracy that they've got that much power. But I mean, even in Cook County, you got the Chicago public school system. Even Mayor Lightfoot, she's not even going to do it anymore. Alexis says DCFS needs to be taken care of next. As I've told you, Alexis, your daycare facility's got to be willing to stand up and fight. If the daycare facilities want to push back, we can take care of DCFS and get their rules are as absurd as ISB's and Department of Health. But the daycare facilities, they don't want to take that fight on if they don't have to, and as long as the parents keep sending their kids there with masks on, and don't pull them out of the daycare facilities where they're losing money, they're not going to go fight that fight unnecessarily. They'll blame it on DCFS because they don't want to have to stand up and fight back. And no disrespect to the owners of those facilities, but that's what they're doing. Okay. Let me see. I don't know of any, is that Teresa? I don't know of any colleges in Chicago going mask optional. I know a lot about the community colleges in my part of the state. And I think, one of them actually came out and overtly said, we're going mask optional. And I can tell you that a lot of the community colleges in my part of the world, kids haven't been wearing masks in a long time. It's just nobody talks about it. So, but in Chicago, I don't know. Let me see here. Stephanie says it's been a while since we've had a functioning AG office. The Attorney General's office, they have a lot of, as a whole, the whole system, they've got a lot of things that they take care of, and I'm not going to say that they don't do some of those things well, but when you have an Attorney General that sadly is so aligned with the governor politically that pretty much just supports whatever agenda that the governor has, that's not healthy for the people of the state, of any state. Ours is, that's what I'm concerned about now. But I mean, they can't be that politically aligned with each other to where whatever the governor wants, the Attorney General does. I mean, look, there's a fair enough question about what's going on between the governor's efforts and whether it's legal or not. The Attorney General should have stayed out of it, but he didn't stay out of it. And, my position is I would have been fighting the governor. At a minimum, I think Attorney General Raoul should have stayed out of the fight and said, I'm not going to sue the people of the state of Illinois for you, Governor. I mean, that's just, you shouldn't do that. So is that to say that the AG's office doesn't do good work for our people in the state in some fashion? I'm not going to say that, but I think that their policies are flawed enough given what they've been doing to support the governor's efforts that we need somebody new in that position. Okay. School buses, William said here, what about school buses? We're going to bring the action against some school districts for school buses. We've got that offer still out there for people that's still on the website. And we've had a few parent groups get together to want to take on their district for school buses. But as of right now, and we're going to bring it, it'll probably be a week or so, but we don't have a lot of people signed up to take on their districts for school buses. So I just don't know if there's a big enough appetite across the state that that's going to get a lot of traction. I mean, if I end up bringing an action on behalf of 1, 2, 3, or 4 parent groups, I'll do it. But to the extent you really want to make a big splash and get rid of that issue, it'd be nice to see a bunch more parent groups get together on that. But we'll do whatever the people that end up signing up for that want to do.
Hi, everybody.
Say goodnight.
Let me see here.
No.
Yeah, I think that's it. I've lost track of some of those. 1 second. All right, I think that about covers it, you guys. So, there's one more. Oh, Carolyn, you had good questions. You asked about the transfer of venue. So we've got the case that we brought against the Speaker of the House on behalf of a House of Representatives member where they're trying to, the House rule wants to create in public health policy, and it got transferred to Sangamon County. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think the venue would have been proper in the county that we brought it in Bond County, but they want to transfer it to Sangamon, that's fine. We'll get a hearing date in Sangamon County sometime soon, and we'll call them again tomorrow, and we'll have a hearing up there. But again, the House of Representatives can't create public health rules and say that my House of Representative member has to wear a mask to get in the House floor. It's ridiculous. Somebody asked about downloading the petitions. If you go to our website, the petitions out there for you playing Turtle Power. The petitions on our website to download, and it's got instructions on how you fill those out and everything. So we, if you could do that and help get the signatures, I would appreciate it. We've got to get 3,250 to be specific, and we'd like to do 6,000 or 7,000. So. Jim, that's a big question, asking about lawsuits against the state for shutting down businesses that have lost, financially. Is that possible? The answer is yes. That's a complicated conversation about how that might work and how that might look once all of the dust settles on this. And again, maybe we can get Pritzker out of office and get some normalcy back to this state. I think there's a lot of conversations about businesses, how they might recover for the losses they've suffered. And again, I've got lawyers that I've talked to. If I, yes, honey. Oh, that's awesome. My turn? Okay, go. Oh my God. So there's attorneys that I've talked to. If I'm Attorney General, that they'll be able out there. They'll be out and available for people to talk to them. Okay. So that should do it. I think we're going to have to go watch Ninja Turtles or something right now and try to get him to go to sleep. So you guys have a good evening. I'll leave you with this. Carrie, the campaign signs are coming. As soon as we get those out, they'll be available, and we'll get them out to all you guys. Okay? So have a good evening. Love you guys. Take care. Tell them bye, Asher.
Bye.
Say see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.